starting over completely at 35, moving to a new country, single, divorced, I have had to make new friends. Last year, my word of the year was connection, and I threw myself into that word head first. I learned as much as possible, as much as I could about the topic, not just in terms of romantic love, but also in terms of friendship. I have made more new friends than ever in this last year, and I've seen my longest, oldest soulmate friendship connections go long distance. So I feel like I've learned a lot that is worth sharing. Friendship is a topic that comes up again and again in daily conversations and conversations that we have around here as well. It is something that seems to be very, very important to us, but also something that a lot of us are struggling with. I've heard so many people say, I'm really happy single, but I have never heard a person say, I'm happy friendless. Our friendships, especially female friendships, are very, very important. They're sacred. They are often more important than our romantic relationships because they nurture us in a very non-judgmental way, and they can last a lifetime. Let me know in the comments why you personally find adult friendships difficult, if you struggle to make friends or maintain them. Let me know. I'm really, really curious to hear. What I keep hearing on repeat is that it's really hard to make friends in your 30s or just as an adult in general. By the time we reach our 20s, friendship groups are well and truly established. That is just the natural life cycle of friendships. So it can feel really difficult to find our way in to a new friendship group. Those friends that we make when we're kids, we share a very, very special bond with, because like if you think about it, when we were at high school, that was only 5 years of our lives, right? But it feels like, for me, it feels like it was forever, because it is such an important period in our lives. We are growing so much in that time. We're having new experiences, really, really important, life-changing experiences. And the friendships that we have during that time, that's why they're extra special, because we associate those people with those incredibly important life experiences. And that's why we feel bonded to those people for a much longer period of time. When we're adults, we're not growing at the same pace as what we were when we were kids, so it can feel harder to bond. After our 20s, it's really common for friends' circumstances to change. So people get married, people have children, people move away. These are all very normal things. And with massive life changes like this, relationships are affected. We're supposed to lose 2 friends every time we get into a new relationship. My personal opinion is that the biggest reason a lot of us are struggling to make friends is because of individualism. I think that as a generation, we are encouraged to focus on ourselves, which can be a good thing. The self-care movement, I am a huge fan of, but when we get to the whole main character phase of things, I'm really not sure. I know that we need connection, that connection and having friends, having bonds, giving ourselves to others in a selfless way is also self-care. It's not all about us. And as a society, we have lost the social aspect. We're lonelier than ever as a result, and I think friendships are suffering. If you are someone who is on a healing journey, so you're working on yourself, you're working on your traumas, you are trying to be a better person, which I think a lot of us in this community are, I think that can make it really difficult to maintain and make new friendships, because we are protective of our energy and we are becoming very aware of just how sensitive we are, how important it is the people that we surround ourselves with, how they impact our energy, and we don't just want to let anyone in. But at the same time, we feel the need for connection, and we want friends. We want people who we can connect with, who we have things in common with, who get us. So we can be very, very aware of toxic traits and toxic people, and we don't want those kinds of people in our lives. If you are on any kind of healing journey, I would go as far as to say that you are the minority in terms of society. So you are going to find it difficult to find people who have the same level of awareness as you, because most people live in ignorant bliss. They are not questioning themselves. They are not interested in any kind of growth. They are well and truly on the hamster wheel, walking around asleep. And when you develop self-awareness, you can't turn it off. It is literally a switch that cannot be unflicked. And the more awareness you have of yourself, let me know if you have noticed this as well, the more self-awareness you have, the more awareness you have of other people. And if they don't mirror that, it can make it incredibly difficult to continue that friendship and to connect. With that in mind, I want to share what I have learned in this last year about making friends as an adult and also sustaining friendships, both long distance and those that are close by. So the first tip in terms of how to make and maintain friends as an adult is to consider what is called the 7 pillars of friendship. This is written about in Robin Dunbar's book, Friends, which if you are interested in friendship in general and connection, I cannot recommend enough. So the 7 pillars of friendship are to share the same language, same educational or career experience, same hobbies and interests, same worldviews, morals, politics, things like that, same sense of humour, same background, same musical taste, which very strangely, but not surprisingly, is the most important thing to have in common with a person. That is what is most likely to result in a friendship. And also, we like people who are like us. So with those things in mind, it is really important to be in those places. Think of those 7 pillars as watering holes. For example, if you are interested in dance, say, do you go to dance class? This is a really great place for you to meet people who share the same interests as you. If you have a set music taste, are you going to concerts, even if that is by yourself, if you can manage that? Or are you part of Facebook groups or Instagram communities? This is where you are going to find your people, and it's really important to embrace the things that you authentically enjoy, because that means you're going to cross paths with the right kind of people. For example, a new friend that I have met here in Paris recently is my lovely, lovely friend Sophie. We are completely different generations, but we have so much in common. Sophie lives just outside of Paris, and I absolutely love getting the train to her house, sitting down, having lunch, and we have so much to talk about. The way that we met was through Instagram, through hashtags. We have been commenting and liking on each other's photos for years, so I already knew that I had a lot in common with Sophie, and when we met last year, it was like meeting an old friend. The second tip that I've got, and I think this is probably the most important, is to be very, very aware of your energy and use positive affirmations. So if you are struggling to make friends, this might be because you have it in your head, you have a set storyline, a set narrative that it's difficult to make friends, nobody wants to be my friend, I have nothing to offer, or there's something wrong with me. I think that's really, really common, especially if by this stage in life you've been through some painful situations like being ghosted or friendship breakups. Those can be really, really traumatic. Sometimes more traumatic than a romantic relationship. So be aware of the thoughts that you are telling yourself around friendship and use positive affirmations to counteract these. You need to be really careful with your language in terms of positive affirmations. They shouldn't contain anything negative. So, for example, if one of your negative self-beliefs is that nobody wants to be my friend, nobody likes me, don't use an affirmation that's something like, it's not true that people don't like me. It has to be completely positive. So you would say, everyone wants to be my friend, or just people want to be my friend. People enjoy spending time with me, things like that. It can feel really icky to say things like that out loud in front of the mirror, which is the best way to practice positive affirmations, but eventually your heart will catch up with your head. Bonus tip in terms of positive affirmations, which is something that I've learned recently, is to also visualize the feeling of how it will feel. So again, for example, I make friends easily, people enjoy spending time with me. Visualize a situation as to how you actually want that to look and focus on how that feels. Because if you can feel that while you're reciting your positive affirmations, that will help you manifest new friends even quicker. In terms of energy, be very, very aware of it. It's my belief that our outer world reflects our inner world. I noticed the biggest shifts in terms of friendship when I told myself, okay, I'm starting a new life. This is it. Here we go. I am open. This is my year of connection. It was as if I energetically opened the floodgates and so many people came rushing in because I was in a frame, an energetic frame of being open to new connections. And soon enough, I noticed my behavior starting to change. I would smile at people. I would say yes to invitations. I would have conversations with strangers. But it all started from that intention that I set, that I was open to new connections. Tip number 3 is know when to walk away. So on Substack recently, I wrote about 5 huge red flags in terms of friendships, because yes, while I've been making all these new friends and it's been incredible, first dates with friends are very similar to first romantic dates. You meet in a very casual setting, you see if you get on with someone, but in the same way you have to look out for red flags, because there are a lot of red flags to consider in terms of friendship. And as I said earlier, friendship breakups can be incredibly painful, so you have to be aware and you have to protect yourself when trying to make new friends. Also, if you are in existing friendships that are not serving you, that are toxic, maybe they've been very long-standing and you're worried about breaking them off, knowing when to walk away is super, super important. I will leave a link to that written piece that I wrote that goes through these red flags in detail in case you want to read it. But what I will say in terms of walking away is that you know when it's time, and only you know when it's time. The definition of friendship is someone that will do us a favor and we will do them a favor in return. Brené Brown defines connection as the energy that exists when two people feel seen, heard, and the energy flows between them. Friendship is a two-way street. It has to work that way. So if you are in a situation where you feel like you are constantly giving and you're getting absolutely nothing in return, that is when the alarm bells should be ringing that it is time to walk away. You should feel positive, energized, good about yourself after spending time with someone or interacting with them in any kind of way for them to be a valuable friend to you. And you are not going to make new healthy friendships while you have negative friendships in your life. I don't want to minimize people to things, but think of it in terms of emotional, energetic decluttering. It is really, really important. It's essential because We only have so much energy to give, but we get to choose who we give that energy to. Tip number 4 is to go slow. Friendships, any kind of relationship, really deep, healthy ones, take time to develop. So as I said, when you're making new friends, it can be a little bit similar to the romantic connection. And if there is chemistry, if you have this twin flame, borderline, codependent kind of dynamic going on, I would be cautious of that. The best, longest standing friendships that I have were developed very, very slowly over time. And it's okay to go slow. It's okay to meet someone new, maybe chat to them once a week, even once a month in some instances, and to very gradually build things up. I think it's a really good rule of thumb to only give as much energy as you are getting. And then if you want to deepen the friendship, if you want to take things a little bit further, you want to share more intimate things, you want a deeper connection with that person, give them a little bit more and then see if they meet that back. But do this very, very slowly over time. I feel like making new friends is an art. I think sustaining friendships long term is also an art. And the best way to think about it is kind of like a dance. There's 2 of you involved and you both have to be bringing the same amount of energy. Having said that, and there is always a loophole, in terms of long term friendships, something that I have experienced when you love someone, you have so much in common, they are a very dear friend, but maybe their life situation does change. Say they have a baby, for example. A new friend that I have made here in Paris, my lovely friend Cheryl, we meet up, we do all sorts of things together. She had a baby last year, so our life situations are very, very different. And one of my best and longest friends, Jess, back in the UK, she has 2 babies now. So things have changed significantly in terms of that dynamic. And what I've learned that you have to do in these situations is you have to understand that that person is not where you are right now and that your friendship is potentially going to change, but that might just be for a short period of time. You may have to give that person more than they are capable of giving you back for a set amount of time because of their situation. And we have to be quite adult about this, I think, and accept that that's just the way that it is right now. And we choose to show up for that friend still. We choose to make sacrifices. We choose to not be mad at them when they're late or they don't reply to our message straight away, because we understand, we can put ourselves in their shoes, we can empathize, and we can be patient with them from a place of love. The next tip in terms of making new friends is to use apps. So dating apps are very, very common now. I think they're the norm in terms of how a lot of people are meeting new people. I have also used friendship apps. My favorite app for making new friends has been Bumble. That is how I met my new friend Priscilla in Paris. She's from America. She's an expat here too, so we have loads and loads of stuff in common. We went on a first date, a coffee date, and got on really, really well. And slowly but surely, we are deepening our friendship. We chat regularly now and meet up all the time. Not specifically a dating app, but I cannot recommend Instagram enough when it comes to making new friends as well. So if you consider the 7 pillars of friendship, similar interests, for example, Instagram is a great place to find your kind of people. Chances are, if you love, say, a particular lifestyle influencer, the people who are also following that person, commenting on that post, you're likely to have a lot in common with those people. Don't be afraid to look at their profiles, like their pictures, leave a comment, or even send a DM. I have made so many friends through Instagram just by putting on there that I was open to meeting new people. People DM'd me, I'd go and meet them. Sometimes I got on with them, sometimes I didn't. But it is a really great way to meet people that get to you. The next tip is to be the friend that you want to manifest. I was having this conversation with my friend Monika at the weekend, who is another new friend that I've made here in Paris. We met through Instagram and we were talking about friendship quite a lot when we met up, and I asked her out of curiosity, and I want to hear what your answer to this question is as well, so please let me know in the comments. I asked her what her key qualities are in a friend. So she was telling me what it was that she liked, things like trust, honesty, people who told her when there was something that she'd done that they didn't like instead of ghosting, which I admitted is something that I can find really, really difficult to do in friendship. And then I asked her if she is those things, if she's conscious of also being those things in her friendship. And she said that yes, she definitely was, but they were things that she struggled with. And as I said, I held my hands up to that too. I want someone who I can have really deep, meaningful, vulnerable conversations with, but I can struggle to be my less than perfect self, I would say, in a friendship, and tell someone when they've done something that upsets me or I'm not happy with. And I think that can be a really common struggle that a lot of us have. It can feel easier to walk away from a relationship instead of doing the scary thing, embracing vulnerability, which is emotional risk, telling people how we really feel. And that's why I think a lot of ghosting happens. But it's not necessary. We can push ourselves to have those difficult conversations, and we can commit to showing up as the friend that we want to be. I think that when we do that, when we show up as the right friend already, that we become magnetic to new friends and attract new healthy people into our lives. The last tip is to reach out and make the effort. A common struggle that I hear again and again is people feel like other people just don't have time. They aren't making effort for their friendships, which I think at adult stage of life is understandable. As I said, people are getting married, they're having children, priorities completely shift and change. I think when we get into our older years, they will completely shift back again, and we will wish, in fact, it is one of the 5 biggest regrets of the dying. I wish I had kept in touch with my friends and maintained my friendships. So don't be afraid to be the person who makes the effort. This is what I've had to get really good at in terms of long distance friendships. So my best friend Liam, we have been best friends since we were 11. He still lives in the UK, I live here. We have to make the effort to speak. We met up to go on holiday last year. We made sure that that trip happened, even though we live in 2 completely different countries. Our flights came in at different times. We were there. We were at that hotel. We made those memories, and we'll both treasure them for a lifetime. If you don't schedule meetups with friends, schedule the trips, make the effort. The same is true with my friend Jess back in the UK, the one who has 2 kids. I make sure that I check in with her regularly. I ask how she's doing. It doesn't matter that she isn't checking in with me at an equal rate, because I know she's really busy at the minute. She's got loads of stuff on, but I want to keep making the effort in our friendship. Friendships are no different to any other relationship. They take time, they take effort, they take a lot of work. Friendships are always worth it. So don't be afraid to be the one who is reaching out. Obviously, after a certain point, if someone clearly isn't interested in being your friend anymore, it may well be time to walk away. But give it your all until you get to that point. Don't sit quiet in the corner. And if it turns out that the other person isn't interested in being your friend, well, that's their loss. I firmly believe that rejection is redirection. It's okay for things not to work out. Some people just aren't meant to be in our lives. And like all relationships, some friendships have an expiration date. And yes, that can be really, really painful. But knowing when to let go is really important so that you can welcome in new healthy connections. I hope you found those tips useful. Let me know in the comments what your experience with friendship is, what you struggle with, how things have changed for you. I'm really curious to hear. Also, if you are looking to make new friends, I've seen this done really, really well on Instagram on Rosie Londoner's account. Let people know in the comments. The chances are that if you love the content that I put out here on this channel, other people will too, and that means you're gonna have quite a lot in common. So I think the comment section is a really good place to let people know that you're looking to make new friends, put the energy, put the intention out there, how people can connect with you, what it is that you're looking for. Feel free to do that in the comments. You never know, you might just make your new BFF.